The moving truck pulled up to the curb at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and I thought I'd finally escaped the madness. After 3 years of battling the Pinewood Estates HOA, I was done. The constant fines of my grass being half an inch too long, the heated emails about my mailbox color, the Karen of all Karens named Patricia Holloway. I was finished. My new condo downtown awaited, and I couldn't be more relieved to leave the suburban nightmare behind. I'd already hired movers for the heavy furniture, but I wanted to load my personal boxes myself. I carried a stack of them out to the truck, trying to avoid eye contact with my neighbors. Mrs. Henderson waved from 2 doors down, sympathetic. She understood what I was dealing with. That's when I heard the unmistakable sound of a golf cart stopping abruptly on my driveway. Patricia Holloway emerged from her vehicle like she owned not just a neighborhood, but reality itself. She was wearing her signature uniform. Pressed white polo shirt with the HOA logo embroidered on the chest, khaki shorts, and aviator sunglasses despite the overcast morning. Her blonde hair was pulled back, so tightly it looked like it might hurt. In her left hand, she clutched a tablet. In her right, her phone was already dialing. "Excuse me," she called out, power walking toward me with the determination of someone who'd fought 1,000 battles and believed herself victorious in every single one. "Excuse me." I set down my box and turned to face her, already bracing for impact. "Good morning, Patricia." "It's Mrs. Holloway," she corrected sharply, "and we have a problem. Your moving truck is in violation of HOA Regulation 4.7, subsection B, which states that commercial vehicles are not permitted on residential streets between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. without prior written approval from the HOA board." I checked my phone. It was 7:03 a.m. Of course. "I did submit a form," I said calmly, though my patience was wearing thin in the coffee I'd made at 5:45 a.m. 3 weeks ago. It was approved on the HOA portal. Patricia's jaw clenched almost imperceptibly. She didn't like being wrong. "Even so, your truck is improperly parked. You're 3 inches over the regulation distance from your property line." I stared at her. I genuinely couldn't believe this was happening on my last day in this prison. "Patricia?" "Mrs. Holloway." "Mrs. Holloway." I corrected myself through gritted teeth. "I'm leaving. Today is my last day. In approximately 2 hours, I will no longer be your problem." She smiled, and it wasn't a friendly smile. It was a smile of someone who'd been counting down to this moment for years. "Yes, I'm aware, which is why you still owe $345 in outstanding fines from your landscaping violations this past spring." "I've already paid those fines," I said, "twice, because you miscalculated the first time." "Your records are in dispute," she said coldly. "I'm calling the police to document this moving violation. You can settle your debts with our legal team if you'd like to proceed with this move." I took a deep breath. My therapist had taught me this technique. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I'd used it approximately 500 times over the past 3 years. "Call whoever you want," I said quietly. "I'm leaving." Within 15 minutes, a patrol car pulled up. The officer was clearly unimpressed with the situation, and even more unimpressed with Patricia's insistence that this constituted a serious violation. After a brief conversation, he waved me on. Patricia stood with her arms crossed, her jaw working like she was chewing glass. By 9:47 a.m., the last box was loaded. I drove away from Pinewood Estates and didn't look in my rear-view mirror. Not once. 6 months later, I was living my best life. The condo was perfect. No HOA, no rules, no Patricia Holloway. I'd gotten promoted at work, started dating someone wonderful, and even took up painting as a hobby. I thought I'd close that chapter entirely. Then my real estate agent called me. "I have an incredible opportunity," she said, her voice bright with possibility. "A residential block just went on the market, all 5 properties. The owner is liquidating assets quickly. I know you mentioned wanting to invest in real estate. This could be huge for you." I wasn't particularly interested in being a landlord, but she sent me the details anyway. The location was convenient to downtown. The prices were surprisingly fair, and as I scrolled the listing photos, I felt my heart rate accelerate. The properties were on Pinewood Lane. Specifically, they were the 5 properties that formed the corner of Pinewood Estates. Specifically, they included my old house. I didn't think about it too hard. Something almost instinctive kicked in, a voice in my head that sounded like vindication. I called my financial advisor. We discussed the investment potential. Within 2 weeks, I owned the entire block. The acquisition was finalized on a Tuesday. The local news picked it up as a developer's play in a neighborhood known for steady appreciation. It was mentioned in the community Facebook page, and probably Patricia Holloway saw it there, though I wouldn't know the full extent of her reaction until later. When I did find out, it came via an email that was CC'd to approximately 15 other people, making her fury very public indeed. We are extremely concerned about your acquisition of properties that border our residential community. It began in all caps. It rambled on about how I was clearly attempting to disrupt the sanctity of Pinewood Estates and how the HOA was monitoring my activities closely. It concluded with a threat to take legal action if any development within the Pinewood Estates area is affected. I replied with professional email, copied to the same 15 people, simply stating that I was a private investor and would proceed with my plans as I saw fit. 2 weeks later, I called a press conference. Not actually a press conference. That's too grand. I called a local reporter I knew and told her the story. The HOA that had harassed a homeowner mercilessly, how I'd finally snapped, and how I'd managed to acquire properties that border the neighborhood, and what I planned to do with them. I was going to build a 6-story mixed-use development, 40 residential units, ground floor retail, and a public park with a splash pad. The reporter's eyes lit up. When the story ran, it went viral on the local Reddit and neighborhood forums. Pinewood Estates residents were split. Some delighted that someone was finally standing up to the tyranny of the HOA. Others worried about the development changing the character of the area, their words, not mine. And then Patricia Holloway called a press conference of her own. I watched it from my office, live streaming on the neighborhood Facebook page. She stood in front of a banner that read, "Preserve Pinewood Estates," wearing her HOA polo shirt, looking absolutely unhinged. Her hair was less perfect than usual. Her voice cracked twice. "This is personal vendetta disguised as development," she announced. "This person left our community and now wants to destroy it out of spite. We will fight this. We will fight this with every legal resource available to us." The reporter asked her a direct question. "Is it true that you called the police on this individual for a parking violation on their moving day?" Patricia's face went white. She didn't answer. Instead, she got into her golf cart and drove away, leaving her own press conference unfinished. The legal battle took 8 months. The HOA tried every angle: zoning disputes, environmental concerns, traffic impact studies. In the end, none of it held up. My development was approved with flying colors, and construction began the following spring. I made sure that opening day was extra special. The park had a beautiful ribbon-cutting ceremony. The local news came. Local politicians showed up, and I made sure my developer's placard, the one with my name and photo, was prominently displayed on construction site. I didn't see Patricia on opening day, though Mrs. Henderson came and brought me cookies. A week after the park opened, I received a handwritten letter. No email, no legal document. An actual letter, hand-addressed to my office, bearing Patricia Holloway's return address. With trembling hands, her handwriting was slightly shaky, I noticed she'd written a single sentence. "I understand now what I did to you. I'm sorry." I read it 3 times. I didn't frame it or keep it, but I did reply with a letter of my own, equally brief. "I appreciate that. I hope you find peace." 6 months later, I learned that Patricia had stepped down as HOA president. The new board implemented new policies, fairer fines, more reasonable enforcement, and a complaint system designed to prevent exactly what happened to me. And every time I drove past Pinewood Estates to visit the park, I smiled. Not out of vindication. That had worn off after the first month, but out of something simpler and more profound. Knowing that sometimes, when the universe seems to be conspiring against you, all you have to do is change the game entirely. I didn't need to beat Patricia at her game. I needed to buy the board and build something better, and that's exactly what I did.